A potential game changer hit the free agency market should the Houston Texans be giving chase. Welcome into the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Let's talk some Texans, and let's talk about the newest game changer to hit free agency. That is Broncos safety Justin Simmons. Simmons released by the Denver Broncos after 8 seasons and is now a free agent. The Houston Texans got to check in on this guy. It fits for a variety of reasons. It's the type of guy that plays safety the exact way DeMeco Ryans wants a guy to play safety. The Texans can afford the ability to do it, and most of all, he is one of the best free agents in all of free agency. So let's talk about it. DeMeco Ryans has his starting safeties, in theory, on the team right now. Jimmy Ward is still on the team in the second year of a 2-year contract, and Jalen Petrie is still on this team going into the third year of his 4-year rookie contract. Those two players would start for the Texans unless something changes, like, I don't know, a player of Justin Simmons' caliber showing up on the free agency market. Listen to DeMeco Ryans from the NFL Scouting Combine talk about what he needs out of the Texans safety play, and when you hear the head coach, tell me you don't immediately feel like Justin Simmons is the type of player that DeMeco Ryans is talking about.
Starting off, we got to be healthy there. We had a lot of guys going in and out at safety. Even our last game versus the Ravens, we end up with some of our backup players in there. We just got to find a way to stay healthy at the safety spot and just find a way to stay consistent. So no matter who's back there, it's just being consistent. And I think that's the key for us, especially defensively. Our safeties are a very important piece, and I really like to use our safeties a lot, where pass game, blitzing, those guys are a really integral piece to, I think, that chess match and that game plan that I like to do. So having guys who are smart, instinctive, and guys who can play well in space, that really helps us at the safety position.
Smart, instinctive, plays well in space, can use a bunch of different ways. That's Justin Simmons. He's one of the most productive safeties over the past few seasons in the NFL. The most interceptions in football in the past 5 seasons. A multi-time second-team All-Pro. 2 Pro Bowls in that time as well. This is a guy that DeMeco Ryans can utilize in so many different ways. You can start him. You can put him in there as a guy that walks down and helps with the blitz and the run stopping. You can have him play center field on the defense. And you don't have to get rid of Jimmy Ward or Jalen Petrie. Those guys can become depth pieces. You can use Jimmy Ward on occasion in the slot, where he has been fantastic in the past for his career. Hey, Jalen Petrie's not good in coverage. Have him walk down and blitz a little bit with Ward and Justin Simmons back there in the safety spots. DeMeco Ryans can mix and match with this team, and it improves the depth for this team at safety that doesn't have a lot of depth. Now, acquiring Justin Simmons is pretty interesting. Finding out exactly what he wants financially will be interesting. Just last week when I was at the Scouting Combine, I was talking to a friend of mine in the business. He said, I'm looking at the Texans, and I feel like they ought to trade for a guy like Justin Simmons. And then I see that Justin Simmons is available. Well, you don't have to trade for him anymore. You just got to pay him. Now, Simmons was highly compensated at the safety spot. He was one of the most expensive safeties in all of football. He was making over $15 million a year, checking in at about the 6th most in average annual value. Well, here's the big thing about Simmons. He said at the end of the season, I want to play winning football. Now, I'm paraphrasing here. He was asked about playing with the Broncos, but he said, I want to win. That was a big focus and a priority for Justin Simmons. Well, that's not going to happen in Denver. They're going into full-on rebuild mode. So Simmons is going to want a team that can win. Well, the Houston Texans were the winners of the AFC South. They were 30 minutes away from playing an AFC championship game as well. That's a team that can win. Now, as far as the compensation goes, no, Justin Simmons is not going to be cheap. He's going to be expensive. He'll be way more expensive than Jimmy Ward is. He probably checks in at about $10 million per year. You start thinking about the various things that the Texans have to add to this team. They've got a cornerback spot opposite Derek Stingley that they've got to figure out. Defensive end and defensive tackle, some depth at the wide receiver spot, a starting running back. They've got some things that they need to chase. They've also got a lot of cap space as well. Even with the re-signings of Dalton Schultz and Kaimi Fairbairn, they've still got a lot of cap space. They've got cap space to go chase a player like Justin Simmons and not have it drastically affect the pursuit of a defensive tackle or a defensive end, something of that nature. So yes, the money is going to be expensive. He's going to be a safety in his early 30s. He's still a very, very good player at the safety spot. And when you start thinking about, hey, not only does he improve the overall safety spot for the Texans, he makes the depth better because now you have Ward or Petrie interchangeable as a depth piece for the Texans. It's also hard to see how the Texans could drastically improve the overall talent of the safety spot this offseason. You look at the free agents, there's not a lot of free agents that get you excited from a safety standpoint. You look at the draft, it's one of the weaker safety drafts in recent memory in this upcoming draft. And so you start to think about a guy like Simmons, and he gets a bit more attractive. He's one of the best players available in free agency, and he's available not because he's not any good anymore. He's available because the Denver Broncos put themselves in a salary cap pickle, and they've got to hit the reset. A lot of times when guys are well-compensated players and they hit free agency, it's because the skills have diminished. The skills have not diminished for Justin Simmons. He's coming off an AP second team. He's coming off of a Pro Bowl. This is still a big-time player. Now, sure, the money could get expensive. Yes, if he wants something similar to the contract that he signed when he was in his late 20s, that's probably a non-starter for the Houston Texans. But you start thinking about a $10 million investment or a little bit more in Simmons, or my goodness, if you found out it was less, it feels like a no-brainer for the Texans to add this guy. It improves all the play in front of the safety position. It makes things easier on that other corner opposite Derek Stingley. It makes things easier because Simmons can come up, identify things, and help with consistency in the rushing attack. This is a guy that can help elevate the Houston Texans defense, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to go out there and get him. This guy is a stud, and the Texans should seriously think about signing him, make that investment. And yes, they've got other things that they need to invest in. And safety is not one of those premium positions, but it's not going to be a premium position in 2024 with the safeties the Texans currently have. It may not be a weakness, but the chances that it's a strength are very, very low. It would be a strength if Justin Simmons was on this team. Think about Simmons, perhaps Derek Stingley and a rookie as the cornerbacks. You fill in that other safety spot with Petrie or Ward mixing and matching, playing that chess game that DeMeco Ryans talked about. And sure, you need some help at linebacker. You need some depth in the front seven. You've got to go find those guys, but that's why you have the draft as well as a lot of money in free agency. I'm not advocating for a cash-strapped and cap-strapped team to sign this guy. I'm advocating for one of the teams with the most cap space in football to sign one of the better safeties in all of football. Justin Simmons would help elevate and change the way the Texans play defense. They really should think about signing him up. What do you think? You think the Texans should sign Justin Simmons? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down to the comment section, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's so much more stuff to get to as free agency approaches. And once the signings start happening, the videos will start flying fast and furious. Vin Diesel style, baby. I appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.